Bob's in the pod.
All right, we're back. We're back. We've got.
Microphone. Do your mic.
It's on. All right, we're coming back from the closed session with the executive committee. We met tonight. John, is it okay for me to report this? Okay. Okay.
Not only is it okay,
Well, it's supposed to.
Well, you were there, I wasn't there, and you were, had president under your name.
Thank you. All right, so the executive committee met tonight for a public employee performance evaluation of the fire chief pursuant to government code sections 54957B1 and 54954.5E, and no reportable action was taken. So that's the end of the executive committee. We don't have a meeting to come back on, but we will set one as needed. Thanks.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
All right, welcome. Good evening. This is the board meeting for the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District Board of Directors for July 24. Can we get the roll, please?
Yes. Director Sailors.
Present.
Director Gould.
Here.
Director Stark.
Here.
Director Weber.
Here.
Director Wood.
Here.
Director Costa.
Here.
Director Clark. Director Jones.
Here.
Director Rice is absent this evening, and he let me know that earlier today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Director Gould, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director. All right, the Metro Cable announcement. The meeting tonight is being recorded. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14. The recording will be closed caption and video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays at 6 o'clock on Monday, July 28th, and again at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, July 31st on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. Next is the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the jurisdiction, including matters on or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers?
I have no speaker cards. The members on Zoom, if you wish to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature. No response, no public comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar. Do we have any questions on the consent agenda? Director
I have a
Gould.
question. John, can you take a look at item number 2? And I'm assuming that because it's before us tonight, it meets all of the criteria for being an appropriate exception?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Director. Any other questions or comments on the consent? I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
All right, I've got a motion and a second. Can we get the roll, please?
Yes. Director Sailors.
Aye.
Director Gould.
Aye.
Director Stark. Director Clark. Director Jones.
Aye.
Director Weber.
Aye.
Director Costa.
Aye.
President Wood.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. The consent calendar is adopted.
All right, we have a single action item, but that's going to be taken up after reports. After closed session, we'll come back out and take action on that item. So moving on to reports, President's report. I don't have anything at this point. Fire Chief's report. Deputy Chief Wagaman, welcome.
Thank you very much, and good evening, directors, colleagues, and members of the public. Tyler Wagaman, Acting Fire Chief, with your report. First off, we have a brand new captain who's promoted today in the audience. I'm not going to steal the operations report's thunder, but you're going to meet him here very shortly.
Excellent.
The next item is Metro Fire did receive notification from Folsom Fire Department that Station 34 is going to be temporarily closed effective August 26 due to budget constraints. I know that Chief House made mention of that at the last board meeting, or the potential for that. Since then, I have scheduled a meeting to sit down with Chief Casano, their fire chief, to discuss this closure and the potential ramifications it could create with our regional boundary drop and automatic aid system. I will be focused on ensuring that the service delivery gaps created by Folsom's budgetary shortfall is not bridged by Metro Fire. So further updates will follow following this meeting with Chief Casano. The next item, I wanted to provide you an update on our single resource USAR K-9 deployment to Kirk County, Texas. Both handler/rescue Brandon Anderson and his K-9 Olaf are doing well. Their team is working actually in the Camp Mystic area, so kind of that ground zero, where they have actually located victims so far. To date, over 108 victims have tragically lost their lives, 71 of which are adults and 37 children. 2 are still missing. So we look forward to Anderson and Olaf's safe return once this very important work is completed. Last night at the California State Fair, they hosted Hero Act Chili Cook-Off. The concept was a collaboration between Congressman Omni Barrow's office, Metro Fire, and Local 522 to bring awareness to Omni Barrow's Hero Act legislation, as well as support firefighters, first responders, their mental health and well-being. Regional teams of firefighters came together to compete, with West Sacramento taking the 3rd place position. Our very own Metro Fire Station 24 took 2nd place. And again, our very own Metro Fire Station 26 took the 1st place position. The evening was a ton of fun. I was able to go out there and congratulate all, and had a little testing myself. The chili was outstanding, but what was better is the reason why everybody was there. That really took the gold. I look forward to seeing who's going to take that golden bear come next year. So that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions for me.
Outstanding. Thank you, Chief. Do we have any questions for the Chief? Director Costa?
Question, just to clarify, you said that station, what day was that? The temporary closure starts?
Station 34, and the temporary closure starts on August 26th.
Great, thank you.
Director Gould?
No, Bob had his hand up
Director
first.
Weber?
I'm just, where is 34? Where's it located?
Yeah, it's a new housing development that is south of Highway 50. I don't know the exact street it's on. It's in that new housing development that is
It borders
really
Metro
exploded in
Fire?
the last couple of. There is there is a bordering section of Station 34's first due area in the Scott Road and Prairie City area. Yes.
Thank you. If memory serves me, that's an area that was annexed from us to them. How ironic.
Yeah, 34 is just east of
Yeah.
Bidwell.
Right.
And it sits behind, there's a shopping center, and it sits on the other side of that shopping
Yeah,
center.
we remember the conversations about coverage out in that area. Interesting. Chief, I have another question for you. Can we just make sure that our staff that are in Texas have all the resources they need from a wellness standpoint constantly? Because you can imagine what it must be like to have an animal find a child. So if there's a way that we can ensure that, either on site or when those heroes come home, I'd really appreciate it. I think that's a big
Absolutely,
deal.
yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director. Any other comments? All right, moving on then to the administrative report. Deputy Chief Fiorica.
You want to do ops first?
Sure, why not? Let's go operations, sorry. Assistant Chief Johnson, good evening.
He was halfway up.
Caught me off guard. Good evening, President Wood, directors, Chief Wagaman, colleagues, Mike Johnson, Assistant Chief, the B Shift Ship Commander. I've got a couple of things to update. One of them is kind of a brief update on our behavioral health responses and where we have made some progress. If you remember back on May the 8th, Chiefs Daly, Keeley, and Rudnicki gave you guys kind of a great holistic presentation of the situation at hand, what we were doing at that time, and then what we were going to try to do to lessen the burden on our members. I will say that kudos to Chief Mitchell and Chief House for selecting Chief Daly to be the person to lead this. 2 things he loves to hear is, we can't do that and no. And so he has taken this challenge on full force, and I'm convinced that the progress that we have is solely because of his passion, dedication, and relationships that he has with the law enforcement folks. So he can't be here tonight to share this, so I'm doing it on his behalf, but he said to send his grace. He's looking at the ocean in Wales right now, somewhere in Santa Cruz. So I'm sure he's heartbroken that he's not here. The major differences that are coming our way, some of them have not come to fruition yet. The agreements and the plans are in place, but they all deal with the dispatch. And as you guys know, our dispatch being a regional dispatch, we have to get a lot of players to agree and be on the same page for us to move anything. So that's what's taking a lot of the time. But what we have done is, through the fire chiefs group in the region, they had a meeting with the sheriff. And out of that meeting with the sheriff, they have agreed to no longer send certain call types that they receive in their dispatch center to our dispatch center. So we're starting at the ground floor to say, hey, let's remove some of these calls that we know that we're not going to respond to just based on the information you guys have. And just because we've always done it where you guys push the button to send it to us and then our dispatchers push the button to send it to the crews, let's not do that anymore. So through a lot of meetings and groundwork, and then to get the right people in the room, the fire chiefs and the sheriff, they came to an agreement. So on the sheriff's side, that's starting to happen. Obviously, old habits die hard. It's a training issue. So that's coming. They're working on that currently. Same goes for our dispatch. Through this process, there is silver linings and all of this stuff. The conversation was the exact same with our dispatch. What can we do? What can't we do? What are we legally obligated to do? And so all these questions started to get answered. And then to further that, it's like, well, why are we saying yes to go to all these other various call types? So the training is in process to calls that we will no longer dispatch our crews to from our dispatch center. That will go live sometime. I won't give you an exact date because I don't have that. Early August, that's going to go live. So we are going to remove these calls from putting our people in these positions to have to do all this extra work and make decisions anyways. So that's coming. And on top of that, we have drafted and are in the final stages of an internal policy that pretty much backs the protocol that the county put out that protects our people one more layer that says, this per policy, I followed the policy, and if somebody should come for them or their licensure, we have not only the protocol in place from the county, but now we have an internal policy. So all of this is coming within the next 2 weeks. I say all that to say that anecdotally, there has been a shift already in these calls. I don't know if there's a less frequency. I don't think that's the case, but what I think is our people are resilient and they adapt. And so where on May the 8th it was new and it was frustrating and it was a bit chaotic, our professional company officers, battalion chiefs have been out there managing this to a level where it is how we do business now. They will welcome the dispatch not coming. Don't misunderstand me on that. But I'm super proud of the men and women that are out there making the decisions that they are. And knock on wood, we're navigating this. You know, it was a sandwich we didn't ask for, but we're doing the best with it. So, so anecdotally, it is better. But I would probably 60 to 90 days from now would be a good time once we get some data. That may not even be enough time to say with these things that are coming down the pipe and implemented, what is the real impact that those have had. I will promise you Sean Daly will not quit working on it. So, and he's probably gonna run for sheriff someday, which is weird, but that's okay. So that's it. Any questions on that?
Chief, I appreciate the details and you stepping up and delivering this on what was kind of a short notice, but it's essential that our men and women know and the public know that the safety of our men and women are paramount. And we're not going to send them out into situations where they're going to be at a greater risk than they already are by signing up for the job they do. So I appreciate this detail. I appreciate all the work, appreciate what Chief Daly's doing. And again, thank you for the time you've put into it. I saw Director Gould, I think you had your hand?
I did not.
Oh, Director Saylor, sorry.
Go ahead.
My voice is not good tonight. So I'm sure everyone's aware of what happened to a city firefighter crew in 20's district just a few days ago. How are we going to keep that from happening to our crews?
Yeah, so that is addressed in part of, that call would have still came to our dispatch center as it came to the city's dispatch center. In that situation, obviously I wasn't there. I don't have the details. I don't know what the decision-making process was. But in that particular type of call where there is somebody injured but is exhibiting a violent nature about them, is that we would stage and wait for law enforcement.
Wasn't violent when they saw him,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was standing with his father.
And that's to the point. Just because there's a cop standing next to you when you get there and you start rendering care to somebody, doesn't mean they're not going to do exactly what this individual did. So we could have all the best rules in place, but, I mean, just keeping our head on a swivel and sometimes having luck.
Director Weber?
Thank you. Are you aware, or deputy, assistant, division heads, has anybody spoken with both either San Ramon and/or Hayward? They've got a mental health, behavioral health program in place that seems to be working for their line individuals. If we haven't spoken to them, maybe we can have someone reach out and say, okay, what's your program look? What's the model look like? Does it work for Metro Fire? If it doesn't, fine, but there might be pieces that we haven't thought of that they've already worked the problems out in. So just thought.
I can tell you, I have not, but it was Hayward, and who was the other?
San Ramon.
San Ramon. I'll pass this on to Guru Daly.
Thanks so much, Chief. Appreciate that.
All right, in lighter news, it is my honor to introduce our newest captain to Metro Fire. We had the honor of pinning Cody Powers' badge this morning. Cody, come on up. Cody is going to be assigned to Station 61 here in Rancho Cordova on the B shift. So super excited to promote him, and I'll have him introduce himself, and you guys can pepper him with questions. Sound good?
Excellent.
All right.
Nicely done.
Good evening, directors. My name's Cody Powers. I recently got pinned today, and I was trying not to give a speech. I got roped into it, though, so I'm glad that you guys could have me here, and I look forward to serving you guys in 61.
Thank you. Welcome. Congratulations. Any comments or questions from the dais?
No, sir.
No? Well, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions for the chief? No? Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on now, Chief Fiorica, the administrative report. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, President Wood, Board, Chief Wagaman, colleagues and guests. Deputy Chief Joe Fiorica, Administration Branch. Got a quick update on a couple things. From Community Relations to start with, there was recently a heartbreaking loss in the community, the passing of a 92-year-old man due to a not having a smoke alarm in his residence. In light of this, Community Relations is teaming up with the Red Cross to launch a smoke detector alarm campaign in the Arden community. When we have a specific date, we'll make sure that gets shared with the board. On a lighter note, Metro Fire is excited to participate in National Night Out, which will take place on Tuesday, August 5th in the evening. This is an event that unites neighbors, law enforcement, and fire districts to strengthen community ties and enhance safety in the neighborhoods. There's usually block parties, cookouts, large gatherings that we'll be participating in, and you all will be provided an updated list of events on Monday, August 4th. And just a note from the human resources side, just to kind of update on where some of our work comp stuff is. Just to highlight a good success story that we recently had. We had a member that was injured on May 1st, and when he was treated in the emergency room, it was indicated that surgery would be needed for his injury. That member was seen by a medical provider that we are partnering with in Folsom, MyNP, and they were seen there on May 2nd. They were referred to the provider's orthopedic and imaging partners for back-to-back appointments on the 6th of May, which confirmed the need for surgery, and they actually had surgery on May 12th, only 11 calendar days post-injury. So, again, just a highlight of where we've gotten to with our work comp stuff. You know, obviously there was challenges in the past, and there's still room for improvement, but we are headed in the right direction. And that concludes my report.
That's a great story. Good to hear that. Thanks to all the work that Melissa and you and Director Weber and others have done to get our work comp system and providers in line. So thank you. Any questions for the chief? No? Thanks so much. Moving on, I have no support services report tonight, so we'll move on to 522 local report. Captain Sean Scollard, welcome.
Good evening, Board of Directors, Chief Wagaman, colleagues, staff. Sean Scollard, Vice President, Local 522. Just want to start things off by saying I appreciate all the communication that we've had lately. It's been fantastic, just working on issues that could become big problems, and we're able to resolve them and work together. It's fantastic to have that relationship. So I do want to emphasize just one thing is the need for recruitment. I know it's super easy for me to stand up here and say that let's recruit everybody we can. However, everybody up and down the state is experiencing the same challenges that we have. But if we can look back from a historical perspective, recruitment's always been something that's hindered the progress of this organization. So no matter what we do, whether we're looking at an alternative work schedule, which I know is going to heighten a little bit of anxiety from some of our line members in the room right now and those that are tuning in, but whether we're looking at that alternative work schedule, whether we're looking at increasing services, or quite frankly, whether we stay stagnant, we need bodies here. We still don't have pools in a sufficient amount in the firefighter rank. We don't have enough staffing, period, to get us to where we want to go. So I think keeping our eye on the prize, which is recruitment, and exploring every opportunity to capture the people that want to work here, that are knocking on our door, is paramount for the success of this organization. I know that we have plans in place to do that. We had a great labor management meeting where we've talked about recruitment process, and with Chief Farica and Chief Wagaman and the team that was in place in that meeting. So I look forward to exploring that so that we can have new opportunities come forward, like additional squads and things like that we've talked about, hopefully knocking on the door in November. With that, I did want to just express one thing out of executive session with a strategic plan that looks like it's going to be coming forward to the board that was just authorized. As much as I totally support the idea of not burdening our members with additional workload and coming up with a strategic plan, I totally get that. I do think that we have very intelligent, capable people here in this organization, and I would just express that if we go with a third party to come in and tell us what a great strategic plan is that they get input not only from the management side, but from the labor side. We have put huge efforts to be collaborative in the direction that we're going for this organization. So I would just say if we do end up contracting services with somebody, please include labor in those discussions or interviews so that we can be lockstep on whatever path it is that we feel we're going to be going as an organization. To piggyback on Chief Johnston's report, 522 has also recently drafted a letter in support of the mental health calls that our members are going on. That letter is going to get sent out to all of our regional partners, including the dispatch center, to stress the importance of our folks not going on those types of calls. Not only stress, but quite frankly, demand that our members don't go on those types of calls. The Sac City incident was a little different, and in those situations, I hate to say they're unavoidable, but those calls are going to come through a dispatch center. That person did meet being a patient just by the injuries that were present on that individual. Now, what's different about that situation is I feel like our members have been put in a new situation of having to decipher whether or not to go in when law enforcement's not responding. That's what's different about it. And that hesitation, that delay, that extra thought process is something unique to us to determine whether or not it's going to be safe when we go in that call. Could that have helped avoid a situation of a member getting injured had law enforcement been present? I don't know. Maybe. But the fact is that our members shouldn't be put in that situation to even second guess whether or not it's safe to be there. They need to have the support of law enforcement on those types of calls. And that's what we're demanding from 522. So we've been in communication with Chief Wagaman. We've had multiple meetings on this very topic, so we know what the timeline is. I think that both of us would agree that it's not the timeline that we would like. You know, we want things to happen overnight. I think 522's definitely made that aware to everybody. You know, we like things to happen overnight. But this one, absolutely. We need this to happen for our members. And I know that Metro Fire's in support of that. And we've made that known to our board within 522. We've made sure that they know the direction that Metro Fire wants to go, that this is a top priority, and really emphasize that we just don't want to leave our counterparts behind, but this is the direction that we're going. We're going there, no matter what. So I appreciate the collaboration on that. Let's see here. Something positive that we're working on. We're collaborating right now with the district. We've set up a meeting August 8th to go down. You've heard me speak about Volunteer Fire Foundation with the glutathione detox studies that they're putting on when our members are exposed to all different types of toxins and even cardiac events and things like that, and the effects that it can have specific to firefighters. So we have a meeting set up to go to Santa Rosa to visit their facility, to visit their doctors, to have conversations, have them go through the whole process with us. I'm happy to report that we've had support from this administration to bring folks from Metro Fire and all divisions, Chief Peck, Chief Keeley, Dr. Schmaltz, members from MIH, Coach Gallagher, myself, Matt Cole, and counterparts from the city of Sacramento, which is fantastic. So I look forward to being able to report back after that meeting that we have on the 8th and tell you guys where we're at and explore new opportunities to be able to make our members healthy and safe. We did vote at the executive board. We have some members going through a treatment right now that have illnesses from exposures from this profession right now. It's going to be our way of collecting some data pool just to see, you know, the befores and afters and how effective this is for our members. So as they go through the process, I'll be getting constant progress reports and really being able to determine the value of what this company has to offer. So with that, I'll take any questions if you have any, but that's it for this evening.
Captain, just quickly, a question. You mentioned the law enforcement issue. What is 522 doing in terms of reaching out to our law enforcement partners to address this issue with them? Are you in the meetings that we've been having?
I am not in the meetings. I know that our president, Trevor Jameson, has been in contact with our law enforcement agencies. I won't speak to what those conversations were, quite frankly, because I wasn't in the room, but I know those conversations have taken place. But what we're doing our best is to work currently with our organization to make sure that we're lockstep and be able to make sure the right people are in the right rooms. And if now that the dispatchers are part of 522, making sure that their needs are met too, that they're not just feeling like they're taking on an additional burden of extra training and extra workload. We're trying to be the conduit right now between all of our regional partners since we're an amalgamated union.
But you guys are using your contacts in law enforcement, hopefully, to achieve the goals that we're all working towards.
I'm sure, I have no doubt that President Jameson is leveraging every bit of that.
Director Gould, you had your
Yeah,
hand?
thank you. Sean, I would just like to know if we have amongst our line captains a hesitation to make certain calls because they're worried about exposure, personal exposure liability for those decisions. Do you have any sense, because what I'm worried about is that we still have line staff out that are being put in those circumstances and they're concerned about what liability they have as the supervising person on scene.
And your question is specific to the mental health calls, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I would echo what Chief Johnson said, is that back in like May, there was many line captains that were vocal about exactly that. They're concerned about putting their members in a vulnerable situation. I have not heard it as of recent, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there. I will absolutely check back and get a better pulse on that. I'd hate to answer on behalf of the line captains, being that I'm not one right now. So I
And
really
I
don't want to
appreciate
speak
the
for them on
hesitation.
that.
I just wonder what we can do as a board to help those men and women who are in that position, making that kind of decision, know that this body, the Board of Directors of Sacramento Metropolitan, have their backs without hesitation.
To answer your question, Director, I think what you're doing right now is exactly what they expect of you. I think there's a huge thank you to be had for all of you sitting at the dais right now for the direction that you're pushing this organization and the support that you're getting from the folks that work here. What you're doing right now is different than any other agency in the region right now. We are taking the lead on this and people are following us, which is no different than what we've done in the past, right? So I'm comfortable saying on behalf of the membership, thank you for taking the steps to put us as the leaders in this endeavor.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, that if we have one of our line captains, who are really the ones that have to make some very specific decisions when they're on scene, that we will have their backs emphatically. If there's training that needs to be done, we'll fund it. But if there, I just would hate to see a circumstance that, the folks at Sac City suffered, and maybe there was a hesitation that shouldn't exist. We'll do whatever we can do. And I want that to be very, very clear, because I know right now we're doing some exceptionally good work on rectifying this issue, but we still haven't completely cleaned up this mess. And until the day we do, we're going to continue to work on it. But the men and women making that key decision need to know I'll support them if they decide to leave, which is a very hard decision to make in the DNA of all of us, right? But we'll have their backs 100%, because what we can't have is one of our men and women so critically injured that it has the potential of ending a career and all the downstream impacts that has. So I just want to reinforce that tonight, that if we're still in those positions and those captains are making those decisions, I hope the 9 of us will be right behind them no matter what comes of it. We'll be there to support them 100%.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Director
Mr.
Weber?
Chair.
Just to educate the rest of the board, is there any board member that might be attending the August 8th meeting with you?
Yeah, there was one that was just invited through their efforts with workers' comp and some health and wellness stuff, and I believe that's Director Weber.
Oh, is she here tonight?
Confirm that.
I just want you folks to know that.
Oh, jeez. Got it.
Good.
And I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate Cody Powers on his promotion. Cody's going to be a fantastic captain. We've known each other for a long time, and so I really look forward to him in that company officer role. And then thank you to Brandon Anderson and his dog Olaf for the efforts that they're putting forth in Texas.
Thanks so much, Captain. Appreciate the report. All right, moving on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee met earlier this evening. We considered having a outside consultant lead our strategic planning. And the 3 of us, the executive committee, elected to selected a consultant, and will be had directed staff to engage in negotiations with that consultant, get a contract, and bring it back before the full board here for further consideration. We also met to discuss employee personnel review, and no action was taken on that. So moving on, Comm Center JPA, Deputy Chief Eureka.
Good evening again. I just want to update you on the Comm Center JPA board. We last met 2 days ago on July 22nd. During that meeting, we thanked the staff over at the Comm Center for the work they're doing to try to get this mental health dispatch changes implemented. And we're also leveraging getting that work done from the board aspect as well. There was no other reportable action.
Any questions for the chief?
No, sir.
No. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Finally, on the committee reporting, Policy Committee, Director, oh no, excuse me, I'm jumping ahead again. Finance and Audit Committee, Director Jones.
Thank you very much, President Wood. Our next Finance and Audit Committee shall meet here in these chambers August 28th, 5:30 PM. Please come and join us.
All right, now our final committee report out. Policy Committee, Director Costa.
Great, thank you. No report. Our next meeting is scheduled for August 14th.
Moving on to board members' questions and comments. I'll start to my left with Director Jones.
A week or two ago, I was able to attend a public safety meeting at the Rancho Cordova City Hall. Chief Mitchell, Kyle McDonald, Fire Marshal Nygren attended with myself, and we had Supervisors Hume and Desmond there, as well as law enforcement representatives from CHP, the sheriff, and Rancho Cordova City PD. Well received, over 24 folks in the audience for the hour meeting to discuss issues and concerns. And I wanted to thank all the staff, senior staff at Metro, for being on top of this, and such a very good personal community level interaction with everybody, our law enforcement partners, as well as members of the public. So a little check off for success for Metro continuing to be a very strong contributor to our community's well-being.
Thank you, Director. Director Sailors? Director Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate that, Chief Wagaman. I would hope that in the coming weeks that we are kept very much apprised of the conversations with the temporary, air quotes, closure of 34. To think that it won't have an impact on our organization is not realistic. We will be impacted, and that needs to be addressed at the highest levels. When somebody does that and they do it for financial reasons, it just shifts the blame to us basically and puts more burden on the men and women who are already significantly overworked. So I hope that we stay on top of that and that this body receives significant details, either an open or closed session, whatever it's required. But I think we need to stay on that significantly, because I remember a long time ago there was conversations, I think, to a colleague on my far left, that she was very articulate in the potential consequences of that area, and I'm concerned that some decisions have been made without our input, and that doesn't go well with me when that was an area that we were concerned with well over a decade ago, and now it's kind of coming back to roost. So I'd put that. Today I had an opportunity to meet some exceptional additional staff members in this body, and it further confirmed that we are one of the most blessed organizations in this area to have a financial team that does us right. You know, we all took an oath that said that we were going to take our fiduciary responsibilities very strongly, and clearly the staff at this organization that work in that area are doing a great job of allowing us to maintain our oath. So I just want to say thank you to all of them. I hate to say unsung heroes, but that's, in my mind, that's really what they are some heroes of our organization in a different way. But to keep us so financially secure and financially compliant is just massive. And they keep winning awards. I think I used the word Super Bowl for accountants, which clearly isn't going to make the TV. But, you know, they're just wonderful people, and I wanted to publicly thank them again. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Director. Director Clark?
No comment, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Director Stark?
I'd like to request that we adjourn this evening in the memory of the victims of the Texas floods.
All right. Director Weber?
Yes, just a couple of comments. First, thoughts and prayers go out to Chief House for a speedy recovery. He may be watching, I don't know. But not to worry about the leadership of Metro Fire right now. As I spoke with Chief Wagman recently, it is being noticed you're doing an excellent job. We thank you very much for stepping up and taking this role. I know there's a lot of headaches and worms with it, but thank you for doing that. It's much appreciated.
Director Costa?
No comments. Thank you.
All right. I don't have any comments other. Everything's already been said. We'll move on to closed session now. We'll come back out and take care of that action item when we're done. And hopefully you won't see anyone else here. Have a wonderful evening.
Recording stopped.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. All right, we're back from closed session. Council Oliver, would you please report out?
Yes, thank you, Director Wood. The board met in closed session under agenda item number 1, matter of industrial disability retirement related to Michael Ryan Gifford under Government Code Section 54956.9. No reportable action was taken.
All right, and moving on to the action item, the board is not going to take action on that matter today. It will be rescheduled for a subsequent meeting. And consistent with the request from Director Stark earlier, we will end tonight's meeting with a moment of silence for the victims of the floods in Texas. We're done. Thank you.
Recording stopped.